You're on Trending. I'm shining the spotlight once again on the local music scene. On today's edition, up-and-coming musician Aldo Tasbur joins me, an indie pop and alternative R&B singer. He's known to sing in English and Mandarin. He's got a number of singles under his belt. He describes his music as his tattoos, and he hopes that they can inspire everyday people. Aldo Tasbur joining me on today's edition. If you want to hear more Singaporean music and musicians, you can head on over to Hear65.com. That's an initiative by the National Arts Council, produced by independent music media company Bandwagon. Here's a taste of the track. The English translation of it is Her, that was released on 28 April by Aldo Tasbur. Aldo, welcome to the show. Thanks for being on Trending. Hi there.
Hi, Daniel. Hi.
Good to connect with you. Up and coming. I think a lot of people are discovering your music. I love the vibe of Her. I'll play my listeners a little bit more of that later on as well. Let's talk about your story, Aldo. I mean, how did you burst onto the music scene? How did it all begin for Aldo?
I started during the COVID period, so I didn't really get much gigs at the start. It was just it was just nothing pretty much. And then I was just trying to put out stuff online. So I was putting out a lot of stuff on Spotify, and then using Instagram and social media to try to push it forward more. And it was a bit weird.
Here's the thing. I'm always amazed when creatives like you say, I just started music. You can't just start music. Regular people like us can't just start music. Maybe I can post a photo on my social media or drawing or something like that. Right. But how do you, what you were just bored at home and decided let me learn how to make music on my computer?
Actually, yeah. It was actually that. I was looking for something, because for the longest time, I wasn't the one in my family that's super into music. It was actually my sister. And my parents used to force me to go for piano classes, and I hated it. This sucks. I didn't want to be there. But
see, they were right.
Yeah. Well, it helped. Now I'm doing it for a real thing now. So they were right. Yeah.
So you had the basics, you had a little bit of music background. Were you doing it in school? Was this something that you were doing as well?
Actually, I was dancing more in school. Yeah, it was music related kind of, because I think I discovered a lot of music dancing, especially the R&B portion of things and hip hop and stuff like that. So it was more of dancing, and then hearing more music. And then when I got older, around when I was 16, I started to sing a bit more. And then from there I started writing and stuff like that also.
I'm curious, so you started putting it out just during the COVID period, putting your own stuff out on social media, trying to boost its views and numbers and getting more people to listen to it. What was the tipping point where you realized that, hey, this is gaining traction? Because let's face it, although thousands of people put music out on their social media, what was the tipping point for you?
I think, honestly, I still don't know. It's still in a bit of the gray now. It's I was just thinking of this the other day. I was oh man, are people actually listening to me, and do people actually like my stuff? Because there's not much interaction between you and your fans if you're not playing gigs, because there's no physical people in front of you that are supporting you. It's just online, and it's all numbers, right?
Yeah.
So I still don't know yet.
Are you itching to gig and get out there, or are you let me just put music out from my bedroom and I'm fine?
I'm itching. I want to try. I want to give it a go. But also I'm not super experienced in it yet. Yeah, experienced in it, and I'm not craving for the stage and stuff like that. It's just if the opportunity comes, like it'll be great. Yeah.
Because you are part of a new breed of musician that has just emerged during this period, like you said, where gigging was simply just not possible. I've been speaking to a lot of artists who had been gigging and then had to take a break and are itching to get back. But for somebody that came up like you, that's a very interesting perspective, a very interesting angle. And speaking of, like, that COVID period, when you were creating music during the pandemic and putting it out there as well, how did that whole period impact what you were writing and producing and putting out there?
I think, actually that day I was just having a convo with my friend where we're talking about how, like, when people are gigging in the past, like they will write stuff for gigs. So they will write stuff that like the starter of the show, like super high intensity and stuff that brings up like the mood of the show. But for myself, like that wasn't in my thought process, right? So most of my stuff is pretty mellow. The stuff that like you wouldn't be able to do if it's just like an acoustic set and stuff like that. So it's quite interesting, like how different writers think, like when people are in the pandemic and people like me who haven't performed in gigs before or like big gigs before. I don't really think about like, do I have to write something to like for like the sequence of the show and stuff like that.
That's so interesting because you're right. I mean, it doesn't just affect the thematic aspects, it affects the production of it and the sound of it, because you're thinking about where and how people are listening to it. And you're so right that, I mean, you're not thinking about the beat drop and the BPM coming in and stuff like that, right? I mean, you're thinking about, were you thinking about people listening to it in their bedrooms?
I think it was more of that actually. So with the Beatles, they had like this period where they stopped touring, right? And then they started writing more weird stuff and stuff like that. Like they
there were other things that play for that as well, the more psychedelic impact.
Well, but like to PG it like this, it's just like you can't play at shows and stuff like that. So I think it's a bit of that also, and like just maybe not playing outside has affected that. But maybe if I start playing gigs, I'll start writing different stuff.
That's true.
Not sure. Yeah,
that's true. Coming up, I'm going to ask Aldo about the story behind the track, his latest track that's out entitled Her. I'll leave you with a bit more of that. I'll be back on today's edition of Trending, speaking to local singer-songwriter Aldo Tasbur. Stay tuned to Trending. It's Trending right here on CNA938, and we're meeting and chatting to local singer-songwriter Aldo Tasbur. And I played for you a bit of his newest track, his latest release entitled Her, that came out on 28th April. Here's another of his tracks. The English title translates to Liberate. So Aldo, what's the story behind the previous track that I played, the current single that's out, Her? What's the story behind that?
Right, I actually wrote it when I was in the plane. I was watching this movie called Her from Spike Jonze, a 2013 movie, I think. Yeah, it was out in 2013. So it's a story about like this guy who fell in love with an android who's played by Scarlett Johansson. And the guy is Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah, so quite a combo. So I got inspired by the male protagonist of the film because of like I can relate to like the loneliness he felt, even though he was living in a big city, because the setting of the film was like a metropolitan city, right? So so I wanted to write like a love letter to like the film, so I wrote her, same title as the movie. Yeah.
You released her in... It's got a music video, by the way. The music video is out. It's got a very Wong Kar-wai, 1960s, old school Shanghainese vibe to it. Very cool there. You released that in Mandarin. The track I just played, Liberate, also in Mandarin. Are you primarily a singer, a Mandarin singer? Would you describe yourself as such?
Yes. I think right now Mandarin music is what's interesting to me, because when I was growing up, I was just listening to Mandarin music a lot, but I lost touch with that for a bit, and then now it's a bit more of like trying to reconnect with the roots and trying to go back to that a little bit. That's why it seems really interesting to me to venture into that myself.
How's your Mandarin songwriting skills?
It's okay. It's not the best. I would say I still need help, and then Google Translate and like
You still need to go dictionary a little bit.
Yeah. The process is funny because I start writing the songs in English first, because that's the first thing that comes to me, like, and it would sound like super esoteric and stuff like that. And then when the Mandarin comes in, like it's sort of like everything is more in layman terms, because my Mandarin isn't that good. Yeah, so lyricists to help us translate some parts that I thought like I really wanted to convey, but I didn't have the vocabulary for it, and I didn't want to use Google Translate. Yeah.
Are you going to try and immerse yourself in it to get better at it? I mean, are we going to see you, I don't know, transplanting yourself to Taiwan for a little bit and hanging out there and learning songwriting or something like that?
Yes, I might work with someone from China, and I might go there soon. But right now it's all like unconfirmed. It's still like in the talks and stuff like that. Yeah.
How about English songs? Are you releasing any? Have you released any in English?
Maybe the next track might be an English track. Yeah. But there's a few in the vault that I was like thinking, should I actually put this out? But it's like, it's all in English. Yeah.
What goes through your head when you're trying to decide what to put out as an artist and who's managing yourself, an independent artist in that sense as well? Like, are you waiting for the right time? Are you thinking to yourself like, this one's just not finished? What goes through your mind?
It's more like, am I ready for like the world to like listen to this? Because to me, like if I put like a song out, it's like it's done. It's like it's not my song anymore. Yeah, it's like the people to listen to it and stuff like that. It's not, nothing is up to me anymore. So it's whether I can like let go of that child, you know, because like every song is like a child that like you wrote from, like you saw them grow up to like what they are now, and then you it's almost like the act of like letting that thing go and become its own kind of thing. You
have to also oneself prepare oneself to let that.
Yeah, oneself prepare oneself.
That's exactly it, isn't it? How interesting. So I'm curious, like, because I've talked to many Singyao artists, and the idea of Singaporean pop music has its own flavor and its own sound. And of course, we're seeing the rise of, you know, international Asian music and music out of Beijing and Shanghai, around the region. Where do you think your sound fits into it? Because it's not exactly Singyao. It's quite Western, I would say, as well, but tinged with that Mandarin flavor as well. Where do you see yourself fitting into the grander scheme of things?
Actually, I haven't thought about it. That's a good question, though. I think, like for myself, like I think I like where I'm at, but I don't really know what that is now, because I'm still starting out. And but I do see like other local artists that sound this way too. Like they are like they're in the Mandarin world, but they have like a really Western sound because of their influences and stuff like that. And well, same for me, because I think I'm listening to a lot of R&B and even like Latin stuff, like Brazilian stuff. So yeah, it's more of like I don't know how to categorize like music regionally, like sound wise. So yeah, I don't really know where I fit. Yeah. I was never meant for love. We were never meant for love. I was never meant for love. We were never meant for love.
Hang on, that's English, isn't it? That's Lost by Aldo. What's going on?
Yeah, so like I tend to write my choruses in English actually.
Ah, you like that? I mean, we're Singaporean after all. Blend it all together.
Yeah. It's a bit like chapalang. Like
So that's the track Lost. What's that about? That was a while back, wasn't it?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one was about like just being lost. But I think that one I tried to focus on the music video more because it's for me like songs and movies are like they're like aligned. They don't go. They're not like one of each. You know, it's like it's together most of the time. Like every time I write, it's either like I watched the movie or like I really like this movie and then I write a song about it. So Lost is from like Wong Kar-wai's Chongqing Express. Yeah. So yeah, because one of my favorite Mandarin.
I was very on the spot by talking about how Her's music video is very Wong Kar-wai as well. Clearly, it's an influence for you.
Yeah, he is. He's my favorite like director in the Mandarin world, I would say. Yeah, he's great. Yeah. So because like Faye Wong is in that film, and I really like Faye Wong's music, and I would say like she also propelled me to do like Mandarin music also, because I heard one of her songs. I think it was Night Makeup, and then I was like, wow, like Chinese music can be this good, or like in this way also. In this style, like I didn't know that could exist in the same realm. So, like yeah, it was like a push for me to go into Mandarin music too. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So that's interesting that you see the visuals in your mind as well when you're creating the music. So do you have a lot of say in terms of working with the director and getting the visual to work together? Is it all something that you are definitely invested in?
For the past two, I have 3 music videos out. For the first 2, I directed them with my friends. And then the last one my friends directed it, but I was in the process of it also. So yeah, I was super like into the process of making music videos too. Cause yeah, I just like visual art and stuff like that also. So yeah.
So maybe there'll be an NFT music video from Aldo Tasbur one day.
Yeah, maybe. That's interesting. Yeah.
Copyright Daniel Martin. So let's see. What's happening now is that you've got Her, that's out. Restrictions have eased. There's opportunities to get out there and maybe tour and perform as well. Yeah. And maybe a couple of new songs coming out. You never know. What's the plans for 2022 for Aldo?
Hopefully I'll get to release more songs and get more chances to connect with people who listen to my music out there, and maybe go to Taiwan, maybe go to China, and maybe even get gigs locally, because why not? Yeah.
Have you officially gigged yet or not? Have you had your first major big one yet?
Yeah, I had one in Esplanade like recently.
Was that like your first big one?
Yeah, that was a proper one. Yeah. That wasn't like just friends. It was like strangers there also.
People who bought tickets and decided to attend your show.
Nah, it was free, but like it still freaked me out. Because like there was like proper like sound system and stuff like that. Like I didn't have that for the longest time. Yeah.
And how many tracks did you perform for a set like that?
I did like 6 tracks. So it was like a couple unreleases and unreleased stuff, and like some old stuff also. Yeah.
So the experimentation continues, the gigging continues, the Mandarin continues as well. At the end of the day, I'm curious, like, I don't know, a lot of people are hoping like putting out, it's changed. The music scene used to be about putting out an album, putting out an EP. Now it's about putting out a single every other month. A lot of artists are following that model. Do you see yourself coming up with an album?
I want to, yeah, hopefully, yeah, by the end of this year, actually. yeah, I'm hoping to get something done. But we'll see. It's still like on up in the air.
What's it like in the local music scene, like as you're interacting with other musicians as well? Is it about the album? Is it about the single? I mean, is it about the collab? It's very different now.
It's a lot about the collab, actually, I think, because you get to like join forces and like connect different fan groups to other people, you know, and it's quite interesting to see, like, it's almost like the Marvel universe. Everything is like, you know, just crossing paths and stuff like that. Yeah.
And everyone sort of knows everybody, and you're like the new kid on the block.
Yeah, it's quite scary sometimes. Yeah, I was like, who am I? Like, I don't even know, like, when people ask me and stuff like that.
You know what? It's exciting to see your music continue to grow and you to continue to grow as an artist as well. Aldo, thank you so much. So people can listen to you everywhere on all streaming platforms, yeah?
Yeah, all streaming platforms, and on my Instagram, you can check out my updates on Aldo Tasbur.
That's spelled ALDOTASBUR. Aldo Tasbur joining me on today's edition. And of course, Trending always casts the spotlight on local music every week. And you can discover more Singaporean music and musicians at Hear65.com. That is an initiative by the National Arts Council, produced by independent music media company Bandwagon. I'll leave you with a bit more of his latest single once again. It's Her.